Hi and welcome to the dead ball area. Every team has its favoured attack pattern, and like most Premiership teams, Saracens is steeped in getting over the gain line first and foremost. And with ball carriers like Billy and Vunipola up front and Wyles and Barrett in the back line, you can see why this would be their focus. Saracens are much more than just your average Bosch merchants, and one of the most impressive things about Saracens for me is how their pattern is mapped out a number of phases ahead, and they use this to manipulate the defence into mismatches that they can then exploit. Chris Wyles' try against Munster is a really nice example of this, and the way they break the defence down is nothing short of excellent, so let's take a closer look at it. The Saracens have the feed, and Munster wield a scrum looking to spin it 90 and get the put in. This actually suits Saracens, as Vunipola can get off the scrum just before it goes 90 and get to the gain line. If we stop there, we can see the wheel has actually taken the Munster back row away from the likely ruck area. O'Donnell gets back first, but he has to come back and around the ruck to get involved. Now Berger is coming forward, and because of this he beats into the ruck. In fact, Berger as primary is able to clear both O'Donnell and Williams out because he's coming forward. It's a really good example of the importance of going forward, setting a target and then winning the space at the ruck. Normally you'd expect a team to play the flow and come left, but if we look, Wigglesworth doesn't look left once. His attention is completely focused on going right, and they cut back against the grain with Fowler and Barrett flooding right, exploiting the short side, and we get the first indication that this is a set sequence of plays. Now Saracens actually have an overlap, but Munster jockey well and shut it down. But because Saracens have flooded right, they've made the Munster pack turn around and chase another ruck all the way back out to the touchline, which is good because it keeps Munster's defence constantly in transition. We can see in two phases Saracens have gone from the 10 metre line deep into the Munster 22, and additionally if we look at how many Munster players have chased that ruck instead of setting a defensive line, we start to get a picture of how stretched the defensive shape is after two phases. Now Fowler and Barrett are in the ruck, so Good steps in to play first receiver. Good stepping in like this allows Fowler to commit to winning the ruck without worrying about what happens on the next phase. Also means that as he drifts back into position, he can swing around and watch from deep where the space is starting to open up, and he can reload his midfield accordingly, as we'll see in a bit. Good plays a nice flat ball to Vunipola in the midfield, and again as we stop the video there we can see how many Munster players are chasing these rucks. It's literally the entire pack and there's almost no defensive line set. They aren't committing to the ruck and they aren't setting a defence, they are literally stuck in no man's land, not in the game at all. We can also see that Fowler and Ashton have come round and Good has reloaded in the 15 position. Now if we swap around to an overhead angle we can see how flat the Saracens' attack sits. Fowler gets a lot of criticism about his attacking play, particularly how deep he sits. But here we can see because it's quick ball he's able to get right up and execute on the tackle line, which is really important. We can also see he has a lot of options. The inside ball to Brown, the short outside ball to Vunipola, backdoor to Ashton, or the skip pass out to Good. As we know, options are good, and it means he can pull the inside defender right onto him, safe in the knowledge he can react late to the defenders and pick the right option. Conway sits back, expecting the hard-line cav from Vunipola, and seeing this, Fowler plays out the back door to Ashton, creating a 2-on-1 against Jones. From there, it's just a case of Good and Wyles executing a 2 versus 1, and they are in for the score. And if we go back a little bit, we can see exactly how flat the execution from Saracens is. It's right up on the tackle line. And if we again swap the angle, we can see how Conway has been sat down into the tackle position by Vunipola's run. It's very easy to dismiss this as poor defence by Munster, but I'm of the opinion it's a lovely team try, and it really shows how important a good understanding of your team's attacking structure is. From the moment the scrum sets, Saracens know what they are trying to achieve, and throughout the sequence we see a team whose whole ethos is structure. The execution of this structure allows Saracens to not only break the Munster defence down in only 3 phases, but to move them from one touchline to the other in literally one phase. It's really, really good rugby. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.